a bad guy in the neighborhood if you had a nickname, right? Yeah. And so now people don't even call you Marquez Valdes-Scantling. All you hear is MVS. So that means you're a bad dude. Can I assume that?
I'm a good guy.
Good guy, good guy. Now when I say bad dude, not necessarily like you're into bad stuff. I really mean like your resume. You got 2 Super Bowls.
Back to back.
Back to back.
Back to back.
Okay, so we're in April now. This year is moving fast. The Super Bowl was just in February. What has the last 2 months of your life been like? I know you experienced it last year. You had a parade to go to and all that, but just help us understand, what has that been like for you?
It's been busy, man. I haven't even got time to really like celebrate the football side because I've just been working on my businesses. I got a fashion show that I'm doing next week. So, man, as soon as football's over with, I'm back to entrepreneur me.
Yeah. Now, what has driven that entrepreneur spirit that you have? And I know we'll talk about family and we'll talk about your experience here at USF, but how does a guy win a Super Bowl and say, you know what, I don't need to go to Miami and party. I don't need to go to the Bahamas. I'm going to get back down to Tampa. I got a company to run.
That's literally as soon as I got done, man, I got on the plane and came back and got right to work. I think that's more so just how I was raised. I know football won't last forever. Just being the person that I am, the people that were around me, my mom and dad were super influential in my life. That's how I got into real estate. My mom's a real estate agent. My dad's a clinical engineer. So I had a great family, growing up. And they just kind of taught me that, whatever you do, just put your all into it. So when I'm playing football, I'm all in. And then when I'm not, I'm all in wherever else I got to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, obviously your parents had to give you a message before you came here at USF. Talk about that message that your parents gave you, but also talk about how your time here at USF shaped you and prepared you for this experience you're having in the National Football League.
Yeah, man, my mom is a savage when it comes to grades. So, dad was, all about football and, super supportive of what I wanted to do, but my mom did not play when it came to those grades. So that was like priority number one. Like, no matter what I wanted to do outside, if the grades weren't right, I wasn't playing football, I wasn't running track while I'm playing baseball. So that was always priority number one. So I always had good grades. I was always a good kid. I stayed away from the parties and, I've never smoked, I never drank. So just had my priorities right from a youth, and it just kind of kept it going. I don't clap for that. That's whatever.
Well, we talk more about your time here at USF. You had the opportunity to play with Quentin Flowers. Everybody knows his name here, and to be quite honest with you, I'm going to mention, I know I got BJ Daniels here in the audience, but so we did beat Florida State while I was here, Clemson, Notre Dame, Nevada at Nevada. I'm going to just put that out there. Miami got their coach fired.
I get it.
So we did our share, but you guys arguably had the greatest teams here under Willie Taggart. Charlie Strong took it over. Talk about those days and the glory days. I mean, I was in the NFL still, and I'm getting calls like, hey, man, the Bulls ain't playing. I got guys in the locker room, hey, man, you like USF against my team? I'm like, chill. I'm not a betting man, but it was a really beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, man. When I decided to come back to USF, the program was, 2-10 at the time. And I believe that, they had a good foundation with the people that they had, and it wasn't like there was a bunch of 4- and 5-star guys that were part of those years that I was here. It was a bunch of guys that were, 2 or 3 stars that just all believed. And Coach Taggart and Coach Strong did a great job of just kind of letting us, lead the charge and letting the players kind of dictate how we wanted the season to go. And I think that was the most important thing when it came to it. Obviously, I was a part of that, turning it around, from 2-10 to being like 13th in the country, the second best offense in the nation. Like we had all those, cool accolades, but it was more so about the players, man. Like I said, we were, I think, just a bunch of 2 and 3 stars that just, from the Tampa Bay area, man. And the Florida, Florida blood that we had, it was just like we're gonna compete, every day. And I think that was the best thing about it.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I just thought about something as you were talking. Now, you transferred to USF, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I know you have an opinion on this whole name, image, and likeness space, the transfer portal. When you guys hear the term NIL, that stands for name, image, and likeness. And so now college players are able to get paid for their name, image, and likeness. And it's created a real stir in college football. I mean, I know you got your money now, so you're probably not jealous of these guys, right?
Nah, man. I'm proud, man, because before I transferred, I was at North Carolina State for 2 years.
Right.
And I was broke.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I opened my account one day and it said like -$5. And I'm like, that's all I had. Like, it wasn't nothing I can do, you know. And like, obviously, as an athlete, you know, I'm taking 18 credit hours at the time. You know, my freshman year, I got study hall for 4 hours a day, so I literally just don't have time to do anything else but go to class and go to practice and come home and study. Right. And so, by the time I look up, it's 9 o'clock, and my day started at 7. So it's like I have no time to go make any money. So it's like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna survive. So that was one of the main reasons why I came back down to USF, because my family's in St. Pete, so that's 30 minutes away.
Right.
You know, I had no money, man. I'm like, man, I'm hungry. Like, you know, so just watching, these guys get paid now, I'm grateful that we were able to, kind of transition into where we are now to what I used to have to deal with, because that was not a good thing, man.
Yeah.
Not a good thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's amazing what we did with $10, right?
Made it
back then.
Stretch.
Yeah, and this is an opportunity for me to plug this. I'm not sure if you guys knew, but we actually have what's called the Fowler Collective here at USF. So now that the players are able to get paid, this organization is separate from what the university does. So you can find them on social media. It's very easy to get behind these players because it helps the coaches recruit and it helps the success of our program. So I just wanted to plug that in there. Let's get back to your days, right? Now, you and I, we got a lot in we'll I can dress, you can dress. Now, we'll get to that. But no, seriously. Drafted by Green Bay, right? A Florida boy going to Green Bay. All right, just to give you guys some context, the population in that town is less than 120,000.
100,000.
The stadium holds about 85,000, right? Yeah. So when there's a game, you're not seeing anybody anywhere except Walmart. You get what I mean?
Even that, yeah.
And then you had the opportunity to play with arguably, I know there's a lot of Tom Brady fans in here, so don't beat me up on my way out, but you had the opportunity to play with Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. Talk about the experience of playing with Aaron, then playing with the guy who's probably going to be the best quarterback to ever play this game in Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, man. I mean, even when I was just coming out, like I knew I was going to get drafted. I had a pretty good, senior year, and I was just like, God, I don't want to go anywhere cold. And God humbles you quick, So I get the call from a 920 area code, and my first thought is like, man, it's gonna be cold, right? And like I said, I'm from Florida. I was in North Carolina for 2 years, and it gets cold, but it don't get Green Bay cold,
right?
And so just getting up there and walking into the locker room and. Aaron knows you by name. And, hey, Quez, come sit down. I'm like, me? Like, you talking to me? Like, this is Aaron Rodgers. I'm watching you on TV as a kid, on Saturday Night Football, beating up on the Bears with Clay Matthews and Randall Cobb. Like, I'm
Sam Barrington too, right?
So I'm like, I'm watching y'all play, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, and you know me by name, So just being able to walk in that and see, a Hall of Famer just know you by name and. Can still talk to you to this day. I still talk to Aaron regularly. Mm-hmm. So I think he's one of the greatest teammates to ever play this game of football. But just him to teach me those things for those 4 years that I was in Green Bay, I'm forever indebted to him. Just the opportunity that I was given at that place to go on and get to a second contract and get to a third contract here in a couple days. It's just I'm forever grateful for what he did for me, and then obviously playing with Pat and winning 2 Super Bowls and playing under Coach Reed and learning that system. It was just I'm blessed, man.
You've really had the career of a 10-year vet at this point. And again, the astronomical likelihood of winning a Super Bowl, right? You win it twice. I want to give you a round of applause for that.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it. It's why guys play the game. You get what I mean? You're sitting in your backyard, you got your brother chasing you, and we replicate those moments. Mm-hmm. You had an extremely big catch this past game.
Yep.
How does a guy execute in a moment like that, be present and make it happen? The whole city of Tampa was on your back when you made that catch and you got it done.
Yeah, man, it's just repetition. It's one of those things where you don't even think about it. The moment's never too big, the moment's never too small. I made that catch 100 times, and it was routine where, you do the same thing over and over again, no matter what the situation is, it won't affect you, So, throughout the whole playoff run, it was, big catch after big catch and big moment to, send teams home and take our team to the next phase. And it was never, I think just never get too high, never get too low. You know, one of my coaches told me it's never as good as it seems, it's never as bad as it seems.
Right.
You know, so just being able to, no matter what ups and downs that I've been through throughout the season and throughout life, man, just being able to stay even, you know, to get back on track and keep the ball rolling.
So you left NC State to come to USF, and then you left Green Bay to go to Kansas City. What about your transitional experience in college helped you prepare for that transitional experience in the NFL?
Man, I don't even think it's college. I think it's life, man.
Yeah.
You know, obviously growing up in the south side of St. Pete, man, I think I've seen everything that you can possibly see before I turned 18.
Sure.
You know, so there's nothing in life that I was afraid of, you know, in the real world. Like, football is football, man. I had to go through real life, you know, and, you know, especially from the south side of St. Pete, man, that's, like I said, I've seen it all, I've done it all, I've experienced it all, good and bad. So, you know, people talking bad about football and things not going right in football, man, I had to deal with real life.
Are you surprised driving around the Tampa Bay region, Sarasota, Manatee, and seeing all the growth in the city?
Man, I was just on the south side of St. Pete the other day looking at a building because I'm trying to expand my company, and I was riding down like the street where like I grew up on, and I'm like, this place looks completely different.
Right.
Like, literally, like, there's apartment buildings that I would never thought would be there. There's new shopping centers. I'm like, where am I at right now?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like, I'm grateful to see that, you know, because obviously, like, there's so much in this area that has to offer. But I can also still ride down 16th Street where the Trop is and still see crackheads there. So it's just like, I know that there's still growth to be had.
Sure.
You know, but I'll never forget where I come from. But I also want to be able to, you know, buy buildings on the south side of St. Pete to help my community grow.
Right. Talk more about that. I mean, as much as you've done on the field, I think it's important that people know we got a rich network of individuals here who get behind initiatives all the time. I can talk myself about how initiatives I have been supported by so many people in this room. Talk about some of the things you're doing in the community.
Yeah, man, I mean, I think just the biggest thing right now is my screen printing company. A little Craft-Tee shirt right here. You know, but it's a screen printing company, so it started with my clothing line, SIK Selection, and I'm introverted by nature, so I like to express myself through clothing.
Sure.
And so I think it was just a really cool and unique way for me to do that. But then, you know, I kind of got tired of being told, like, hey, I can't make this or we can't do this. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to create my own company and do it myself.
I like it.
And so that's kind of how that started. And it started with 2 employees, like a year and a half ago. Now I got 8 full-time employees over a year, so just rapidly growing this thing. We can go in and print whatever, you know, screen print, embroider, you know, director, everything, you know, any and everything, you know, cut and sew, we're doing all that stuff now. And just being able to say, hey, I got a space where people can come and create.
Where is that space?
It's in St. Pete.
St. Petersburg.
It's in St. Petersburg, yep. And so that's where my brick and mortar is right now. I'm looking for a bigger building right now so I can continue to grow, get more
and make
employees.
shirts for everybody in this room.
That'll be great, you know, USF included.
Beautiful, beautiful.
You know, and so I think that's just something that, you know, I enjoy also because I give opportunities to people to learn and grow and create jobs down in St. Pete, because I find that so important. You know, I got a convicted felon on my payroll right now.
Wow.
It's like, that's what's important. Giving people those opportunities, man, because, you know, that's what's important. You know, he's a great guy, and I feel like just because you have bad circumstances doesn't mean you're limited to what you can do.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I really love and appreciate the fact that you spoke on that, because you look around the world and you talk about some DEIs, you know, in the conversation, right? And sometimes it's people talk about race and demographics a lot, but it's some people who need a second chance in life. And so I want to really commend you for doing that. Yeah. Let's switch the subject a little bit. They didn't mention it earlier, but I've had a very unique opportunity. Obviously played here, graduated here, got my master's here, and now I'm going into year 6. I've commentated and called every football game for the past 5 years. So I left the NFL and they put me right back in the booth. I was like, man, come here. And so I've been calling those games, and I'm telling you, last year was the most exciting year. And we only won 6 games. You know, we go and we win a bowl game, but it was still an amazing experience. One of the things that I really respect about you is you show up. It's your bye week, you're here. You get what I mean? The big games, you're here. Saw you at the basketball game. Talk about the excitement that you have for the program. You saw how well basketball, track, all the sports are doing. Yeah,
man, I think, like I said, I wouldn't be where I am today without USF. And so I think just being able to get back and, showcase that, there's a guy who sat in the same seats that y'all sat in, can still be back and show that it's possible. So I think that's super important to be able to come back and talk to the football team, show up at basketball games, show up at events. Like, I'm forever indebted to USF. I have a large mural tattoo on my back of USF. Like, this is something that's like meaningful to me.
Somebody said, let's see it. Come on now. Who was that? Miss Castor, was that you?
And so I think for me, just being able to give back and just be around, be present, because obviously, one day my name won't mean as much.
Sure.
And so, while I'm in the moment, why not showcase that it's possible?
What message would you share if we don't have any players sitting in the audience? But what message would you share if we had a player here, 2 years in front of them, all these things going on in college football?
It doesn't even have to be a player, man. Some of these students here, I'm inspired by them,
Wow.
and just what they're doing. But just believing in yourself, man. I think that's the most important thing. Obviously, keeping your faith. That's I got my Pray First bracelet on. I go to Radiant, South Tampa. So I'm in there every Sunday serving with the kids. But just believing in yourself more than anything. At every level, I've been doubted. Told I wasn't good enough. Hey, we'd like somebody more than you, and just saying I can do it.
Sure.
And going in and making myself right, not proving anybody wrong, but proving myself right. That's literally the motto that I've always lived by.
That's beautiful. So we got a few more minutes, right? I want to share something, right? So as I'm getting the opportunity to speak here and moderate this panel, I noticed the term Kente, right? And so my family is actually from Ghana. The term Kente, it means basket. And so now you see the print, you go all around the country of Africa, the country of Ghana, and you see this print, this very popular print, but it's derived from the word basket. And so when the Akan people of the Ashanti region would travel all around Ghana, the way people would identify us is by the Kente cloth. And so I'm very humbled to be here. I tell you what, as a student athlete, I know you were broke at NC State, but you got here at USF and things changed for you. We had meal plans, right? So to hear some of the stories that the students are sharing where it's like they, have to work all these jobs. Unfortunately, us athletes, we couldn't relate to it. Yeah. Now, we bust our behind over there at the athletic building, but, we had resources, we had meal plans. Some of the players, we go over each other's houses for dinner. And so it's just a humbling experience to hear it. To see you on the stage that you are now, you're doing business, you're doing a great job in football. I want to talk about how you showed up on game day in the fashion that you exemplified. Yeah, the reason why I brought up the Kente is because this outfit I got on, it was actually made in Ghana. I get the opportunity to travel back every year, and so I wore this for you. I need your compliment, right? So, because if y'all got an opportunity to look at this guy's social media, he's arguably one of the most fashionable guys in the league.
Yeah, I'm dressed down right now. So
yeah, I know.
Sorry, guys. I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Like I said, it's fashion is a big thing for me, like I said, I'm introverted by nature. It may not seem that way because I can speak in front of people, but I'm, very reserved, in my normal self. And like I said, I love to express myself, through fashion. I have no fear when it comes to it. I can care less about what anyone has to say about what I wear because I do it for myself. And I think I learned that from my mom growing up because she was kind of the same way. And so just being able to go out and put whatever I want on, day in and day out, and then be able to go to my company and say, hey, I want to try this, I want to make this, and be able to do it myself. And I was tired of paying all these crazy prices for Louis Vuitton.
I'm telling you.
Let me just go make it myself. I think that's just been more fun and more creative that way.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that's obviously a big conversation around campus is we're going to have a stadium here pretty soon, right? And I tell you what, I was on my visit here at USF second week in December in 2008, and they were telling me like, hey man, we're going to get a stadium soon. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Now it's 15 years later, and this thing is finally happening. Thanks to Jay Stroman, who's leading our foundation. He's sitting here in the front row. Michael Kelly, president-in-law, so many great people have gotten that done. What does that mean for you? And we got about a minute and a half left, so take your time, talk about what that means for you and the impact you think it'll have on this community.
Man, it's great, man. I'm super excited to see that thing. I need to get my name somewhere on there somehow.
Yeah.
So Jay. I'm super excited about that, man. Obviously, I love playing in Raymond James. It was one of the coolest experience as a college athlete to play in a professional stadium, every week. But to be able to, have our fans here, have our student section here, not have to drive 20 minutes or worry about carpooling or catching an Uber or whatever, just being able to be right here on campus. I'm super excited to see that thing light up. I know the players will be.
Sure.
I'm excited to see what it looks like, see what that game is like, those atmospheres, and excited to see just what football is going to be back, at USF. Because when we were here, we had that thing rocking, and I'm just excited to see that back there.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, man, on behalf of alumni, USF community, we're so proud of you. We want you to continue to go out and shine. He's in a very interesting place in his career right now. I was a free agent, but once I was a free agent, it was time to go home for me, right? We're going to see him on another team making big plays. And again, speaking of guys like BJ Daniels, we're always talking about you, how proud we are of you, and we want you to keep shining, keep being fearless, and keep being a leader, because so many of these guys, they want to grow up and be like you, and I think you're a perfect man for them to be like. So I thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, man. Good job. Yes, sir.